Coming up, a Sad Styles production. Get into it!
Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
Yeah, Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
You know what got me excited?
What's that?
I read the title.
Yeah.
And I'm a little dyslexic.
Okay.
I thought we were just going to be eating break fast on the whole podcast.
That would be gregreat. He's a little cook, and he's just doing like, it's like beer tapper, but like for, line cook stuff.
I was going to say cooking mama.
Oh, cooking mama.
Or overcooked.
I
don't know why you went beer tapper.
Okay, drinks and food are very similar. I don't know why we have to...
Are they?
Yeah.
I almost...
Food and beverage.
Food and beverage. I feel like that's like black and white. Like they're diametrically opposed. The Germans, and we all look to them,
okay,
don't appreciate Jews. No. When you drink and eat food at the same time.
Yeah, they like it separate, right?
Which is one of those things that I've heard once decades ago, and I'm just telling everybody as though it's fact.
I saw a TikTok about this where you're not supposed to eat and drink. It'll give you like indigestion. And I'm
Fuck
like,
that.
I don't think so. Like,
I also don't care.
Our whole system of meals has been, a lie?
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone seems to be doing fine.
Yeah, we're not just roaming the streets burping and farting all the time.
Holding their stomachs, rolling on the sidewalk.
Granted, I always hear this. People, like, if you have friends who go to a bar sober, they're always like, you don't realize how many people are farting all the time.
Just crop dusting the place.
Crop dusting.
Oh, no.
Maybe it is our little tummies.
That's truly a fast break.
Oh.
Friends we made along the way.
We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to the Retrograde
podcast, where we remind you what you used to love and whether or not you still should.
I'm Andrew Bascom, and with me as always is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Magic Mikey Aaronworth.
Oh, that's great.
It was there for the taking.
Yeah.
It was an assist as easy to capitalize on as though Magic himself threw it to me.
Absolutely. I love
Absolutely.
that. There are a few nicknames out there that are just great, and we've just now repeated it many times.
Yes.
Magic, Sugar.
That's
a big one.
Sugar's
There's
great.
a few of them where you're just like, oh yeah, that's...
You know what we don't have enough of?
What?
Doctor. You got Dr. J.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant in general, like we need more doctors in society.
That is probably true.
That is probably true.
That is probably true.
And teachers. Wait, what are we talking about? Oh, nicknames, right.
But honestly, Dr. J, are there any other doctors out there?
That's a good question. Also feels like
Dr. Dre.
Doc Halliday, but
Doc
that
Halliday.
was always people always do that where they're like, oh, because it's precision. I'm like, no, that's because of the gunslinger, whatever.
Yes.
And then you sound like a nerd at the baseball team. Actually, do you remember the
isn't
OK
that-
Corral? Like, and they're like, shut up, and I'm like, okay,
Corral. Well, okay, so obviously the reason why we're talking upfront about sports and Magic Johnson
Right.
is because we're in the midst of what I believe is maybe the best show on television right now, Winning Time.
really?
I fucking love it. I love it.
Wow.
Now, when I say best,
Yeah.
I know that
You
it is
mean it
not...
in an Andrew sense, where I have 7 bests of all time.
That's partially.
Yes.
There could be a best writing, there could be a best, but
Sure.
just the amount of fun I have in the 60 minutes that this show is on, it's fantastic. Now, we're not going to talk a ton about it, but we should give our impressions because the show is wrapping up. Magic Johnson, the Lakers, and the Celtics, and Larry Bird are in the zeitgeist right now, so we decided to do a Magic Johnson-themed game, which is Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
Yes.
A game that we consider doing a lot. Like, Magic Johnson's name has been on quite a few video games. Anything.
Really?
Anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's just not go down there. But we considered Fast Break because it was one of the first. It was prior to NBA licensing, so the focus really is on him. Now, if you're looking at the best rated Magic Johnson era video game, it's probably Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs. You also get some Larry Bird in that as well. But we figured we focused primarily on Magic. Plus, we haven't done an NES era basketball game yet. So we're going to be kind of unpeeling that and seeing what that looks like. But prior to that, Andrew, your thoughts on Winning Time? You kind of rolled your eyes, scowled, and shook a fist at me.
No, Mikey. Oh, that was a separate issue.
That was a separate issue.
Yeah,
yes.
entirely. I think it's funny that you say it's the best show on television right now because I really enjoy it. It's telling a story that I'm somewhat familiar with, and I read Winning Time the book. And, I think the problem is it's two things. It's got a very distinct style of shooting where it's got all these different like high 8 and VHS, and then it moves to different styles and cameras.
Very
and
70s.
Yeah, that could be for you or not. It's very Adam McKay.
Yes.
Like very Adam McKay. And that could be for you or not. And then the other one is, I think the true hoop heads out there are like, well, wait a second. That's not exactly how it happens.
Yes.
And you know what? Shut up. We're getting into a real era of the retelling of history, especially modern history, because this is only 50 years ago. So like it is modern history. And we're going to have to deal with that. Like there are certain like sensational elements to bringing it to television where they're going to do. And so much so like Jerry West is suing right now for his portrayal.
He's kicking and screaming about his lawsuit as well, which is like, I think that kind of proves the show.
He gets Adam McKay in a corner. He just absolutely tearing him a strip. And they're like, oh my God, it's happening. Writing season 2 as they're watching it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a really interesting history because it also like I love old LA stuff.
Yes.
Like before LA was
For
real
sure.
LA. And this is really the rise of that, where it's like, oh my God, look at the entertainment capital of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the Venn diagram of sports fan and video game fan are that listen to this. I mean, we used to talk way more about sports and TV and movies and all that stuff. And so we will kind of keep it geared away from that slightly. But this is to say that there's a reason we're doing this game. And it's because there is something that's very prominently being talked about right now. It could be the algorithm. But am I wrong in thinking that like there is nothing on Twitter being talked about more than Winning Time right now as far as TV shows go?
You know what's funny? It's not the runaway success that HBO was hoping, but it is getting a season 2. So I think there is something to be said on both sides, where it is very popular and people are really liking it. Also, it's coming to an end.
What is your favorite show on TV right now then?
Better Call Saul.
Okay, so that would be the other one, but it started in the middle of this season. Better Call Saul is back, and I'm enjoying that quite a bit.
It's in 2 chunks, where the second half of the final season is going to come out in the summer. But we're about 3-4 episodes in.
Three.
Yeah. For
as of recording,
yeah. And then Barry's also back too, which is
so there is a lot of good TV on there. Hey, if you want to hear us talk in depth about TV, go over to the Mushroom Club. It's patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast. It's $5 US a month. Not only are you going to get those bonus episodes with us talking about things like a TV wrap up, but we've moved the gameplay segments over to Patreon in all their glory. They're extended. It's all video, and that's how you get your hands on it now. We've been doing it for the past couple weeks. A lot of success. And hey, if you have any thoughts on the format and how we're doing it, reach out to us. The Retrograde Podcast at gmail.com or on any of our Twitter accounts. You're at Retrograde Andy.
Yep.
I'm at Retrograde Mikey or at Retrograde Pod.
And I could tease 2 more things on Patreon. I didn't even tell Mikey about this, but I don't care. Ooh. We are absolutely doing a Doctor Strange episode. That's going to come up soon. And then a week after that, we're doing a Top Gun episode, and there's nothing that can stop me. I don't care if I'm alone into a microphone. I will be there just screaming about Top Gun.
Hey, how about this?
What's that?
Look, I know that in the past couple of weeks, we've been kind of pumping the tires of our Patreon a bit.
Sure.
In the midst of this move over from our gameplay segment and our typical format.
Because we want everyone to be happy.
We want everyone to be happy, but let's say this.
Okay.
This month, as it stands, like end of April and May, there is a ton of bonus content on there right now. We did the draft, the Retrograde Presents Sports Draft Showdown, the search for the greatest sports video game in the past 362 years, where we took all the greatest sports games in history. So if you're a sports fan out there, this is absolutely for you. All the best ones, we drafted them against one another in like 4 episodes to find out what the best sports game of all time, arcade, simulation, retro current, all that stuff. The final episode of that is up now, where we actually took the finalists, played the games against one another as their champion, one of us representing each game to see who the winner is. So as we mentioned, tons of bonus content out there. Why don't you spend the $5, see if you like it. There's a back catalog of a ton of stuff, and we'll see you over there. It's a bit more of a tight-knit community, very active, and we want to hear your thoughts on there as well. So go over and join us.
So that's how we sucker you in. The first taste is the gameplay, but the second taste is Top Gun Maverick. Okay, I'm sorry. That movie has been teased for me for 3 straight 100%. Fucking
No, I
years.
can't fucking wait to see that movie.
I am so aroused by that game.
You know what? You know what's been teased to me for the last 3 years?
What's that?
Overwatch 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, no, I know that. I'm sorry, but why are you bringing up Overwatch 2? Because it's almost out, right?
There was a lot of confusion about the quote-unquote release of Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
It turns out what April 26th, what that day meant, was the closed beta. So Overwatch 2 is currently playing, and so I'm going to explain this to you as a beta.
Wait, I'm a beta?
No, I'm the beta.
Oh, you're the
explaining
beta.
to another beta. We're going to call this segment 2 betas.
Beta squared.
Overwatch 2 betas. The reason I bring it up is because I actually got an invite to the closed beta.
You did?
There were 2 ways you could get it. You could apply through the Blizzard app and say, hey, Daddy Jeff, even though he's no longer there,
Yeah,
Jeff
Daddy Jeff.
Kaplan, please invite me. Please, sir, let me lick your boots and allow me to continue to play
True
this game.
beta way.
The true beta way. Actually, I think the second way is even more beta.
Oh, really?
On April 26th, from 1 p.m. Eastern Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, if you watched 4 hours worth of a Twitch stream from one of the dedicated Twitch streamers who were streaming Overwatch 2, you would get a drop, which would automatically invite you to the Overwatch 2 beta. So what a lot of people did was just have a window open with Twitch playing.
Oh, wow.
This was one of the smartest things I've seen a video game company do in terms of bolstering their brand. Activision has a lot to answer for in terms of their overall Blizzard Activision.
And currently is.
And currently is. Hopefully things come out and they come out on the right side of this. Remains to be seen. But in terms of their marketing and advertising, they put this out there so that everyone who wanted access to the beta was going to watch 4 hours worth of Twitch dedicated to Overwatch during that time. It turns out the Overwatch community had at its peak, 1.2 million viewers on Twitch, shot it up to the chart. This is, 6-year-old game.
Yep.
Now all of a sudden at the top of the charts.
Crazy.
So I got it. And I finally had a chance to play. I've only played a few rounds, but now notable changes to Overwatch 2.
Oh, I'd love to hear this.
And keep in mind, this is the first time I've played any Overwatch in about 2.5 months.
Okay, so D-pads, if you're new to this podcast, you're here to listen to Fast Break. Mikey is obsessed with Overwatch, and to the point that I think it was a borderline addiction. And so Mikey...
not even borderline.
Thank you very much. Went cold turkey and has not been playing for 2.5 months. Now, you might say, well, I've played a lot and not have played a lot of video games for 2.5 months. Good for you. That's not the same. Mikey, this is a big deal for him.
It was a big deal, and I was hesitant. Honestly, I was hesitant to get back into it. I thought, maybe I'll never have this chance again.
Just have one beer. I could just have one
beer.
I
think it would be easier for me to do one shot of heroin.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Liquid heroin. Yeah, 100%.
And then just shoot it. That's isn't that like liquid heroin? Isn't that like Goldschlager and Red Bull or something like that?
Oh yeah, no, that's cocaine. Liquid cocaine.
Liquid cocaine. Yeah. So I was worried about getting back into it, but I thought, the D-pads were demanding it. My fans were clamoring.
Don't you dare pin this back on us.
I booted it up, and I was up against two things.
Yeah.
One, I hadn't been paying attention to the changes made to each of the heroes.
Okay.
So I felt like a little bit like a fish out of water, like the boss in the first stage of Earthworm Jim 2 last week's game.
Very good.
Secondly, because I hadn't played for about 2.5 months, my skills and mechanics were completely out of whack. So I was refining myself and the pacing and all this. I will say the changes that they've made overall are fantastic.
Really?
To the pacing of the game, to the overall look and feel of it. It looks better, it plays better, this and that, but I mean more in terms of the structure of the game.
So, so what are the big changes that you're talking about?
So you've heard that it's a change now from 6-on-6 to 5-on-5?
Right. So yes, I have heard that. And there was reasons behind that because of tanks and support.
Yeah, I think the premise was that they wanted less of a game that relied around things like shields, staggers, and just chaos.
Yeah.
There was too much on screen at a certain point.
Screen bleed.
Yes. Way too much.
There was times where I'd play this game and my player one would walk by and go how can you tell what's going on?
Yes.
And I'm like, I can't. You're just kind of blindly shooting into the crowd 100%. A little bit. Yeah.
So that stripping away of one more player makes a big difference. And the fact that the role that they stripped away was tank makes an enormous difference. Also, most tanks don't have shields now. Even Orisa, her shield's been taken away.
Heard that.
Reinhardt, as a shield character, it's significant that he has one because not many other people do. They've also made some changes to most of the stuns in the game. So much so, McCree had a flashback. Stuns are basically like any CC.
You mean Cassidy?
Cassidy, sorry.
Sorry,
yes,
I know.
Yes.
That's a new one. And just so everyone knows, they took a name off of character because of the ongoing sexual accusations around Activision Blizzard.
Yes,
because of the lead designer's name. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the name that McCree, Cassidy, was named after was an actual person within the company.
Yeah.
So they stripped that away from him, and so he had a stun grenade.
Yeah.
Now that's a sticky grenade. You had things like Brigitte's shield bash, which was a stun. That's gone away. May can no longer freeze people completely. That's been taken away.
Really? They just slows them?
Just slows them.
Oh, wow.
Even one of my favorite changes in the game is Sombra's hack.
Yeah.
You only lose access to your abilities for 1 second. So if it's well timed, and there are weird balances in there. You'll lose some health. I'm pretty sure you lose 40% health when you get hacked or something like that.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
You can hack while you're in stealth, but then you have to come out of stealth to shoot. Little things like that. you know how we've been talking about with the game, it's like every time there's a new anniversary or something, there's not as many skins. They're not doing as much to update the balancing. It's now very clear to me that that's because they were putting all their effort into this game.
Yeah.
And it is incredible to me how much they've changed and how well it works.
Really?
You know, in Overwatch, like, especially you play DPS a lot, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. Soldier
Yeah,
76.
Soldier been my main.
So often what would happen is like if you don't have tanks playing well in front of you, you would turn a corner and you're just obliterated.
Yeah.
You're dead. In this game, everything survives longer. Team fights are not about poke, 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 one person dies and then they get rolled and that's where you move. It feels way more like an ongoing battle, like a war where like you make some progress and then you don't. The idea of constant like one person dies, everyone retreat, regroup, go back is kind of gone. It's a lot more reliant on just staying within the battle.
Right.
The tanks have way more health. Healing them, like the one tank on your team, healing them is a little bit harder if they're not staying with the team, but it does kind of feel like you're less reliant on your teammates.
Right.
With the one exception being because there's only one tank. If that tank is off doing their own thing, the team kind of falls apart.
So, but you're saying only one tank. Is now the new composition of the teams one healer, one tank, 3 DPS?
No, it's one tank, 2 healers, 2 DPS.
Okay, all right.
And but the tanks are really tanky. Like if a tank comes at you as a healer, you don't really try to kill them. Whereas like I could probably as Ana take out a Roadhog if I did things right, if they came at me, timed my CC right, all that stuff. Now it's like their health pool is just so much higher. If you don't get help, you're screwed. But I'm finding though in general, it just feels like it flows better. Even the sound effects are a bit chunkier and clickier.
Really?
Like I'm really, really liking it.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm going to spend some more time with it. The open beta lasts a couple weeks and then it closes again. But here's the thing is after playing Overwatch 2, I don't feel the need to go back and play Overwatch 1. I'm like, okay, this is the version that I want. I'm going to wait for this until it's ready to start up in its entirety. I'm just going to stick with Overwatch 2 and then take a break again once the beta closes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. All right, so but you are going to get Overwatch 2 then?
Yep.
And play it?
Yep, 100%.
And you feel good?
Who are you talking to? I fucking love Overwatch.
No. I'm just saying you're not worried about like.
Oh, I'm worried.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm scared as hell.
Me too. Yeah, for you. As long as we're just putting all the cards on the table. Yes, I'm very concerned for you in your life.
I am as well. That is reciprocated. There are 2 parts of me. I think I am going to split personalities, and one is the Overwatch fiend, and the other is the one who watches, feeling trapped as though I am in the movie Get Out from like the sunken place, just watching myself play Overwatch.
It's a real Moon Knight situation. So every time you see yourself in a reflection, you're
Mikey,
like,
give me back the body. We got work to do. Give me back the body. Yeah. Except here's the thing is Mikey gives me back the body and then I just play Overwatch as myself.
Again.
I'm like,
it's my turn. The little brother split personality. Oh, that's amazing.
The other thing, so I will continue to update week by week as the beta continues, and as the beta continues is the sequel to my life, I think.
As the beta continues is your second album.
Yeah, exactly. I'll continue to update, but I'm enjoying it. If you got in, great, congratulations.
Congrats.
Otherwise, I got hit with an email. You know, sometimes you get like a spam email.
Sure.
And you're like, I'm not happy to get this.
Yeah. Okay.
I got an email that I wasn't happy to get, but it was good news.
Oh no.
The news was
you're having a kid. That's amazing. That is good news, but it's bad.
How am I going to play Overwatch and care for a kid? Not well.
Not well. No, absolutely. I guess like the kid's got to start playing. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Just age through all that diaper shit and come play Overwatch with me.
You're like, you're a Junkrat man? Ugh. Disgusting. Get out of here.
I'm going to name my kid Junkrat. I got an email stating that my pre-order for the Steam Deck was ready.
Are they still making those?
The Steam Deck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that. I remember us talking about that.
Yes.
And then I haven't heard a single thing since.
I got in on the pre-order.
Okay.
And they started shipping out, I think, a month or 2 ago. Mm-hmm. Reviews have been somewhat mixed, but apparently they've been patched and some of the firmware has been updated to make them run a lot more smoothly. People who like them fucking love them. Sure. People who don't are kind of calling it like the Game Gear of our generation. So I got the email and I'm like, and it's like, you got 3 days to decide if you want it. I decided that I want it, which means, Andrew.
Yeah.
This might be a little Papa's purchase.
Oh no, it's a Papa's purchase.
By golly, it's Papa's purchases with me, Papa Mikey.
Get on board. Yes, it's a Papa's purchase. I don't have it yet. It's arriving the week following this recording.
Okay.
But I'm following its shipping. I'm tracking it. When it arrives, I'm going to decide whether I want to keep it or sell it. I just felt like I couldn't let it come, the opportunity come and not.
That
jump
sounds
on
like
it.
you. I would have been shocked if you're like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Is there a vibrant reselling community for this?
If I wanted to sell it for more than the base value, I could make a lot of money. But I'm not going to do that. That's not why I'm getting it to determine whether or not I want to buy it. I'll sit on it for a week, see how I feel. I'll look at my credit card statement and decide whether I want to keep it or sell it.
You very much more than a lot of people resent the secondary market.
I fucking hate the secondary
There you
market.
go.
I really do.
See?
You know, I had a lot of people on Twitter when I reached out to ask, like, hey, should I get this thing? They're like, get it and resell it. And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you hardcore.
My ethics are too strong.
Way too strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's another piece of hardware that I want called the Playdate. Have you seen this one? Have you seen
No.
this one?
Have you heard about this? Have you heard about this?
It's the little
Jake.
retro portable thing with the crank on it. You must have seen that.
I have not seen this. What the hell are you talking about?
Look it up. We won't
Okay,
spend much.
the
I don't
Playdate.
have much to say about it apart from the fact that it's like $150 or $200 or something like that. With like a subscription service to get a bunch of proprietary unique games on it. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
But if you order it, you're not getting it until 2023 at this point. They've started
Jesus.
shipping out and they've booked everything completely. They're like, we can't fulfill all of our orders. Good luck.
like very
Place a pre-order.
steampunk, like
yeah.
the cranking?
Honestly, though,
Really?
like at first when I saw it, I'm like, no way. And then I'm like, I fucking want that thing so bad. Probably because I can't get it.
We could litter your apartment, your condo with just things that you're like, this console might be the thing. Remember that what was the cardboard Nintendo thing you
the
wanted?
Labo.
The Labo.
The Labo.
You were like the one going like, this is gonna be great.
Granted, I never said that I was going to buy the Labo.
Okay.
I just thought that the idea
don't wanna put
was
words in your mouth,
fantastic.
okay?
Please don't.
I don't wanna
You
put words in your mouth.
Andrew, way too many things in my mouth on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, really? I do?
Way too many.
Okay.
I mean, you're sitting across the room right now. You've been tossing grapes at me
I
this whole
know.
time.
It'd be great. You're like a Roman emperor. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I would prefer if you fanned me with a giant leaf. Stop throwing grapes around my
You
mouth.
stopped catching them for a while. They're just pegging you in the head. Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm full.
Stop. No more grapes. And
No more grapes.
Well, there's a lot going on there. We got a Papa's purchase. We got
Yes.
the beta from a beta. And wow, this is what a week you've had.
What a week I've had. It's been exciting.
Yes.
I really can't wait to set some time aside, though. Like, what I'm most excited for is to be able to set some time aside and play more of the Overwatch 2 beta. Maybe
Absolutely.
on my fucking Steam Deck. Who knows?
Hey, you can do that?
You can't. The Steam Deck is basically a PC in your hands.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. Now I've come around to the completely. That's all
Honestly,
you need
yeah,
to
it's
say.
not
bad. Have you done anything with Elden Ring yet or no?
I've continued to play it. I've lost.
The people are clamoring to know, Mikey.
Andrew, I have lost so many followers on Twitter because every time I tweet anything critical about Elden Ring, people fucking hate it. They hate it.
Isn't that amazing that people are like, I cannot be surrounded by negativity. I need to unfollow this gentleman.
100%.
That's insane.
It's like, and here's the thing. It's coming from a place of love because I'm continuing to play the dude. I've dropped 55, 60 hours into the game.
Right.
I want it to be great. And I understand that why it's difficult is like every time I talk to someone, they're like, oh, you just need to like get good. But it's not that much harder than the other games and everything. I'm like, it's more about the pacing and the requirement to grind and all that. And they're like, you don't have to grind. And I'm
Rise
like,
and grind, baby.
I'm like, what is your build? They're like, well, I summon this, I get an NPC, and I've got a shield and I've got a sword. And if you want to do that, all the power to you. That is a great way to play the game. I want to play it with 2 daggers, no shields, and no summons. Because I was able to play other Dark Souls games like that. That's what I like to do. I don't want to. I hate the idea of summoning. Like, if the answer is if you want to make it past this boss, let someone else do it for you.
That kind of sucks.
It kind of sucks.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that
Yes.
kind of sucks.
Like, and let me
In
be
principle.
let me be very clear here.
Yeah.
If you summon, I am not saying you're playing the game wrong. Do it however you want.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I love a boss where it's like I fight them.
Yeah.
I'm like, that seems impossible. I play them one more time. I'm like, I get it. And then a few more times, I get get it down pat, and then I beat them.
I don't know,
on my
Mikey.
own.
I like to think that everyone is having fun playing the game, but we can disagree, I guess. There's many different ways to play the game. Okay, that's fine.
Sure.
Two sides of the argument here, I
Yes.
guess. No update for me. I'm doing my same bullshit. Thank you very much.
Okay. All the sports
100%.
games,
MLB is working its way through. The Jays are in first, which, by the way, they're also in first in real life. What's
Yes.
up? Suck it. And then Lego Star Wars. Okay, I should say I'm almost complete the original trilogy.
Amazing.
Future guest, a future guest that we'll have on soon was explaining to me that you can start in Phantom Menace.
Oh.
And I'm so mad. I was like, oh, do I No, I'm not going to restart. But it was that when they're selecting the movies, you can spin the carousel, but the sequels are frozen until you do the original movie. So you could have even started with Rise of
Skywalker.
Force
Awakens.
Awakens.
Yeah,
you could have started with that too. And then, but the sequels are
so you have
locked.
to start with either episode 1, episode 4, or episode 7.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so I could have, and I would have started with Phantom Menace, to be perfectly honest.
Here's the thing. I think as much as the original trilogy of Star Wars, movie-wise,
Yes.
are kind of panned notoriously and don't try to save them.
The prequels?
The prequels,
Oh, yes.
sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
the prequels.
Okay.
The prequels. In terms of translation to video games, the best.
Probably.
Lots of blasters, lots of pod
Darth
racing.
Maul.
Darth Maul
Yeah.
is sick.
Yeah.
He's sick.
He's sick. You get that music, which is awesome.
He's got a bunch of tumors on his head. That's how you know he's sick. He's a human, by the way.
No.
With jaundice?
Oh my God, he looks
Burns on his
terrible.
face.
Somebody help that guy. They tried to. Double-sided lightsaber.
Someone either help him or cast him in Insidious because he looks very much like.
He does look like the guy
looks
from
like
Insidious.
Looks like the
Oh,
guy from
boy.
Insidious.
Okay.
Patrick
Wilson?
Patrick Wilson. The horns in his
You
head.
mean Aquaman 2's Patrick Wilson? Yeah, okay. That guy must have $200 million in the bank.
100%.
Whatever. Good for him. I am so proud of that guy. Just cranking out yeoman's work. Just like
I
every
love
day.
it. He's great. He's good in everything he's in.
Absolutely.
So in general though, you're enjoying your time with Skywalker Saga?
Absolutely. It's hard to stay awake because it's so easy. And like constantly I can tell it's trying to push me into like, go collect stuff. Hey, why don't you go explore this map? And I'm like, I'll start the level. And they're like, are you sure you want to start the level? I'm like, I'll start the level.
Yes.
And you're like, okay. Like, so eventually if I really do enjoy this game and I complete it, which I will with one eye closed, I might go back and go like, oh, okay, so what did I miss? All right. But there is such a drive. Well, also I am like this in video games where I do try and complete the story really fast.
Yes.
I like the sense of completion is very
Just
nice.
mainline it.
Yeah, 100%. I might go back and try and collect all the secret stuff. And which, by the way, the secret stuff is not even that hard. You're like,
No.
oh, there it is. Like, you're like, and like, how do I get there? Like, oh, like that way. I'm like, no, I'll get to the level.
I don't know. I could not write the formula down. I don't know what the formula is, but there is something about a level of exploration and collectability that is simplistic.
Yeah.
That I absolutely fall into, like a warm bath. I fucking love it. But if it's too much, it's 100%. Atrocious to me. And I some games walk that out. Like I think Ratchet and Clank does it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Same thing where the exploration is like, oh, how do I get over there? You just poke around at the edges of the map for a bit and you're good.
Yeah.
Are you finding that it's kind of working for you or you're finding yourself
I don't know.
pulling away?
The thing I keep thinking about is the Pokemon Snap corollary that we always talk about on this podcast.
Yes.
Whereas if the wrapping is something you enjoy, you'll pretty much do anything. I enjoy Star Wars. Star Wars are fun stories.
I'm Pokemon Snap, and I'm here to say I'm going to take pictures in a Pokesnap way.
But I don't know where that came from. But
Well,
yes,
you said wrap.
Oh,
you wrap your head around. Or
Oh,
something
it
like
was
that.
a W on the wrap.
Yes.
But yes. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That must be very embarrassing for you. But is that if like Star Wars is fun, so it's fun.
My face is as red as Darth Maul's right now.
Oh God, go to a doctor.
Sorry, yeah.
But if this was like Harry Potter Lego and
Right.
something I don't have a real connection to, I'd be like, I don't know if this is fun. So that's the difference of like, oh,
True.
maybe I'll play the Marvel one afterwards.
True.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But
Do you think you'd enjoy that more? Because you're not an enormous Star Wars fan.
No, like I'm not like I enjoy the movies,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm like reading the fanfic or anything like that.
Right. You haven't read my fanfic?
No, exactly. It's way too sexual.
It's way too sexual.
Um,
It's an old Boba Fett and another old Boba Fett.
It's just two old Boba Fetts.
Now, here's the premise.
Okay.
They've been in the desert a long time. They are sunburnt. They are what's the
I don't know. What are you doing?
well, good, the bad, and the ugly.
Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. They are Clint Eastwood level sunburnt.
Okay. Yeah.
And they are sharing a tent.
Okay. They have a
And-
tent. All right.
And that's the teaser, because if I go too much into it, I'm going
Yeah.
to ruin it. I'm not a good writer. So you basically flip the page and it's like, then they had sex.
Yes.
That's my
It's a
fanfic.
picture of them 69ing. And
Yes.
you're like, oh. I guess it's
Lot-
all right
lot of
there.
drawing.
And then Mikey's just doing an eyebrow thing, up and down, like,
What else was that? That's a flip page like the old Captain Underpants. You just flip it and it's me with my eyebrows. Do
Two
you get it?
old Boba Fett 69ing. Do you like it? No. So yeah, there you go. So that's Lego Star Wars, a game for babies. 2 old Boba Fett 69ing.
2 old Boba Fett 69ing. A lot of 69ing happens in Winning Time, Andrew.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is the show, again, that we're basing today's game off of.
Here, Winning Time. Here's a sell for Winning Time if you haven't watched it, okay?
Yeah.
Do you like the 80s? Interesting, okay. Do you like basketball? Interesting. Do you like oral sex? If you like any of those 3 things, this TV show is for you.
It is, there's a lot of oral sex.
A lot of oral sex.
The first scene, in fact, is mainly about boobs. There's just a pair of boobs and John C. Reilly in the bed with them.
Does that sound good to you?
Does that sound good to you? Is
Come
that
on.
what you want?
It's good TV. There you go.
Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
Boba Fett 69? That's what it sounds like when he describes it to me.
My fanfic for Winning Time, I took a screenshot of that opening scene and I just photoshopped John C. Reilly's head on the woman. So it's,
oh, wow. It's two John C. Reillys.
2 John C. Reillys, but one with some knockers on her.
It's like, yeah, Winning Time. My only criticism, not enough Boba Fett's. Just, just putting it out there.
Boba Fett WAP, is that something?
Oh, I think so. I think so.
All right, we'll explore that.
We'll explore that.
So this game, obviously, Magic Johnson's Fast Break. It was also titled Magic Johnson's Basketball, depending on the console that you played it on.
Okay.
A very original
Yeah.
game. Developed by Arcadia Systems in 1988, released for the NES, Arcade, Amiga, MS-DOS, Commodore 64. Published by Arcadia Systems as well, or Trade West on the NES. We're going to be playing this game on the NES, where it came out, I believe, in 89 or 90. There have been conflicting reports. I'm pretty sure it was 90.
Conflicting reports.
It's amazing how you go back to some of these older games and, like, depending on where you look, the dates are just different.
I can't believe, like,
Who am I going to ask? Magic Johnson?
you might be able to.
Isn't it funny that he had a Magic Johnson?
Did he have a Magic Johnson?
Yeah.
Oh, it was very good.
It was magic.
It was so you wouldn't believe.
Believe it.
I love it. The name Fast Break too is speaking of Winning Time,
Yes.
is partly because the fast break style offense that the Lakers ran were like kind of popularized by them.
Jack McKinney, baby.
Jack McKinney, the philosopher, the professor. So he would be the one that started it. Fast breaks existed previously, but it was because it was like kind of an accident.
Yes.
This one was forcing the action to move up the court faster.
Based on teams' mistakes as opposed to imposing your will
Yes.
upon the other team.
Which eventually became the 7-second offense with the Suns and Steve Nash and D'Antoni and stuff like that. So
You're describing my offense, baby.
7 seconds or less,
7
baby.
seconds.
I like the last part. It's like 7 seconds, and we got to stop anyway.
Slam dunk. You should be proud of me, baby.
That's where all the high fives come. Yes. You also have like tearaways, like you're in a bag.
Did tearaways exist back then?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that man.
Oh, I don't know. I can't imagine them going like, okay, time to take my pants off.
It must have happened at some point.
Yeah, well, it did happen at some point. We don't think exist, Mikey.
No. I mean, pulling your pants down.
I gues so, or you just didn't wear pants. You just wear shorts on the bench like that, like a fool.
I've gotten in so much trouble for that mentality before.
What is that guy in shorts for? Makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, you can wear shorts without pants.
Yeah.
Summer is going to be the summer of Mikey now. I'm going to be allowed in grocery stores. Parents aren't going to hide their kids from, well, they might. They might. They should. They don't need to.
Still.
They probably will.
Yeah.
So I mentioned that this was also available on the NES. It was a game that was repurposed from a company called Trade West on the NES. They basically made a replica of the arcade version or Commodore version for the NES specifically. The story behind this game and its publication is kind of strange, especially involving all the parties that were involved between Arcadia and Trade West, mainly because there was a parent company called Mastertronic. They were a software company. They would make video games. Yeah. They created a sub company, which they called Arcadia. Their goal was basically to develop video games for the Commodore Amiga, which shared chips with a lot of their arcade consoles.
Okay.
So that they could make home and arcade games simultaneously. Now, here's the issue. First of all, have you played this game before?
I've never played this game.
But have you seen screenshots of it?
I have, yes.
Now, looking at that, your first thought is not going to be, I would love to play this game in an arcade, right?
No, it was not.
That is the same thought that everyone else had as well. It's not going to catch your eye. It is very bare bones. And it turns out that when they created this idea, or they had this idea to create games that could exist both on home console and arcade, the powers that be within the company did not understand that those were two different things.
Okay.
They still believe that it's like, if it's good enough for arcade, it's good enough for home console. But if you're primarily designing with home console in mind, it won't work in the arcade. Typically not. It usually works vice versa.
Okay.
And that nearly bankrupted the company, Mastertronic, because that whole branch went out of business.
Yeah.
And before they merged with Virgin and got bought out by Sony,
Yeah.
Or sorry, not Sony, Sega.
Oh, Sega, yeah.
The whole company nearly went out of business.
Oh, wow.
And Fast Break was kind of at the heart of it, of this proof of concept that wasn't really proof of anything. that was kind of it. So the overall gameplay, there are 2 generic teams, but it contained Magic Johnson's likeness, which again, this was common for the era of this video game, right? It's like one player, like even Pat Riley had a video game, eh?
Cool.
From this era. It was
Really?
like Pat Riley's basketball. Yeah. They were just Bill Lambier's combat basketball.
Bill Lambier, yeah.
They were just signing, I guess, they're seeing the success of some players signing. You had, here's another one that I find weird.
All right.
There was a game, Dr. J versus Larry Bird.
Yes.
That seems like end of an era, beginning of an era, right? But
Yeah.
their rivalry was never as strong as Johnson and Bird.
Oh, I don't know. There's a really famous picture of Dr. J choking Larry Bird.
No way.
Oh, I'll post the photo on Twitter.
He's
Based on
choking the chicken?
He's choking. Based on Larry Bird's general appearance, yes, he is choking a chicken.
Which, by the way, Larry Bird's portrayal in Winning Time is my favorite character in TV history.
It's the best.
He is amazing. I can't, for some
such a
reason,
piece of
usually
shit.
I'm behind watching TV shows.
Okay.
And I keep trying to talk to people about this portrayal of Larry Bird, and I'm now ahead. Like, no one has seen episode 7 where Larry Bird features prominently. And I'm like, guys, fucking someone watch this with me. What's happening?
Hey, you at home, watch this with Mikey.
Yeah.
Talk to him about Larry Bird's portrayal.
I could not get enough. I want a spin-off of Winning Time that is just Larry Bird, the fucking asshole, because he's so funny.
He's such a piece of shit. And it's like kind of famously that is true. Like he was such an asshole. He talks so much shit. And I love that Magic Johnson, the smiley, like, it's all good, but and Larry Bird's like, I'm going to fucking kill you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, cool.
It's amazing. Now, this is kind of our dynamic as well. I mean, I do smile, but I am always thinking I'm going to fucking kill you.
I am the Magic Johnson between the two of us.
I would think so.
Smiling. I'm nice. People generally
I'm
like
sad. I've got a long neck. White people love me.
Yeah, that is true. White people do seem to like you. I think it's concerning for a lot of reasons. You don't want too many white people liking you. Then you're like, uh-oh.
Some need to hate you.
Yeah, exactly.
If every white person loves you,
You're doing something wrong.
you're doing something wrong.
Wow, what a weird critique of Larry Bird.
So as I mentioned, like we're in looking up this game and getting a sense of it, I have a sense that the gameplay portion of today's episode, which again you can find over at patreon.com/retrograde podcast, is not going to be very long. It is unlike Larry's neck. It's not going to be very long.
I can't wait to play a whole season in 20 minutes.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
We beat the game? Oh, okay.
We beat it.
Yeah,
But this was one of the rare cases of an NES game that allowed for 4-person play.
Wow,
four-person
that's cool.
simultaneous play, which is neat as well. I love basketball video games. I know you've been fairly vocal in stating that you think that the translation of the sport of basketball is almost best to video game
on the modern
of all
day.
sports.
Modern day, yeah. I think it obviously was very tough, and they tried for a long time. But like we've always talked about, continuous motion has been very difficult, and that's why, like in NHL +94, a game that we've been talking about a lot over at Patreon, brought down the size of the rink, brought down the size of the name of the number of players, things like that, to make it more,
Not NHL '94. NHL '94 didn't do that.
Oh, okay,
but most basketball games did.
Yes, they did. They brought down the number of players on the court because it was just harder to make them all move independently. But in the modern day, it works so well.
It's funny because I have a healthy amount of respect for modern NBA games. But the thing about modern sports games is that if you don't have a familiarity with the sport, and basketball used to be the sport that I played most, but I'm not as into it now. I haven't been paying attention to the way the game has changed with the focus on 3-pointers and all that stuff. If you don't have that, then the games are actually harder to play. Whereas more retro games were a little bit more arcadey. For some reason, I kind of like the feel of a side-scroller 2D basketball game a lot. It's always worked very well for me. Even NBA Live 95, which we played.
Yeah, we disagreed so much on that game.
I loved it. You did not
I did not
love it.
like it.
And so I'm kind of excited for the simplicity of this one. I think we may have a lot of fun with it.
Okay, I hope that's true. Because, Magic Johnson played with a lot of fun.
He did.
And
a smile.
And a smile. It's just a great guy.
And he would be famous for doing things like, as is the case, what happens in this game. If a 3-pointer is hit on the court, even if it's not him, Magic Johnson looks to the broadcast camera and says, 3-pointer.
Wait, actually?
In real life and the game.
Oh, in real life and the game. Well, he was famous for doing it in real life. I didn't know if it translated to the game.
Yeah. It made it to the game.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Just very robotically turns to the camera.
3-pointer.
3-pointer.
Like he's reporting the news. Like someone died. Oh, 3-pointer.
In coming up next, an alley-oop.
It'd be great if it was every play. Magic Johnson looks to the camera like, layup.
They missed.
Yeah.
So I'm pumped to play
Timeout
Andrew.
Celtics.
He's
Thanks, Magic.
He's Chick Hearn all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
Chick Hearn,
doing
yeah,
the job of Chick Hearn.
Yeah.
Just he starts saying to him, or you start talking too much to the game. The next screen is just a fist held up.
Okay, Chick Hearn, we'll talk about it more on the thing, but like Chick Hearn is like a legend in the Lakers. The street outside of Staples or crypto.com arena
Yeah.
is called Chick Hearn Way.
Yeah.
Like Chick Hearn there's a statue of him.
If anyone were to sue,
I was just
Winning
going to say,
Time,
the portrayal of Chick Hearn is the worst. He's just an
awful.
alcoholic asshole.
Yes.
Like that's the
just
whole
a
thing.
complete asshole.
Yeah.
But they have fun with it. Maybe he joked around with it. Who knows? It doesn't seem like they were consorting or confirming any of these with any of the people involved in the story.
Yeah.
But we're going to confirm whether the titular character of this story is worth exploring for, I don't know what the fuck. We're going to play the game.
We're going to play the game as much as we can.
We are.
And you can hear that over at patreon.com/Retrograde Podcast.
All right. And if you're not going there, we will just see you on the other side after a quick break. Fast break.
Layup.
Just a reminder that you can now find our gameplay segments where we play through a portion of today's game and provide video commentary while doing it over on our Patreon, patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast. Join the Mushroom Club for $5 US per month for access to all the gameplay, plus 2 to 4 bonus episodes per month where we do things like character drafts, top 10 lists, and even take some suggestions from our community. So show some support to the podcast by joining the Mushroom Club at patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast for access to bonus content and all of our gameplay segments. We'll see you guys on the other side.
And welcome back to the Retrograde.
3 points.
3 points. If you wanted to go check out the gameplay over there, thank you very much for doing that at patreon.com/Retrograde Podcast. Otherwise, Mikey, if they didn't, what did they miss?
Well, I got one thing to say.
Okay, I'd love to hear it.
That was a bomb.
And that's what you started with, eh? Not backcourt violation.
Well, I would start. Here's the thing. If there were a way technologically to make it so that if you rewound the episode to go listen to the first half from this point, all you would hear is backcourt violation.
Backcourt
That'd be
violation.
amazing. And that's because backcourt violations are prevalent in this game. Prevalent.
There was one foul and, no lie, 50 backcourt violations.
Well, but here's the thing is in a game that's called Fast Break, good Lord, the trailer or like the second player that you're not controlling is often just hanging out in the back court.
Yeah, he wants to stand 10 feet from you in the backcourt.
In the back court,
Yeah.
waving his hands,
like
tempting you.
The second you pass the ball, the guy's like, "Oh, I want the ball back! I want the ball back!" And then you get it, and he's like, "Oh, I don't want this. Pass it back."
I've had those players on.
It's like
teams
Jackie
before.
Moon in
Yes.
you're like, "Don't like it," and give it back. Don't like it. Like it's insane that we kind of talked about this in the first half, but the intelligence of your other player, the AI, is
Makes
just
a huge difference.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
And the same way defensively. You're doing all defensively. You're flying around, doing everything. And the second guy is just standing under the basket.
Just standing under the basket, whether he's on offense or defense. I mean, but here's the thing. Passing is so difficult. In a game based around Magic Johnson's passing, as you mentioned in the gameplay, it's impossible to make any good passes.
It's impossible.
If there's someone close to the lane, they're
Yep.
getting it.
And if there's a defender within a couple of feet of you, they're
Yes.
stealing the ball.
They're
from you.
stealing the ball. And that feels so bad because it's basically now about,
That just feels so bad.
it feels so bad.
It feels so bad for my
bad, man.
confidence.
Feels bad,
Oh.
man. It's not a basketball game.
No.
It's a video game in which you shoot a ball into a hoop. The strategy.
Kind of.
The strategy. Yeah, even then
Kind of.
Kind of. Strategy is not about typical basketball strategy, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, before we started the gameplay is what I said I was excited about. The simplicity of it. I don't want to play like a basketball game. Turns out I want some of that.
There is just, it's so simple. It goes the other side where it's like, well, if I'm standing near you, I should be able to steal the ball.
Yes.
It's like, yes. It's like, well, no, but that also doesn't make it as much fun. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. It's almost like, it's like a black and white, like technically written game. Where
Right.
It's like if basketball was just only the hard rules.
Yes.
You know
yes.
what I mean?
Yeah, like if you were coding, well, I guess that's what they did. They coded a basketball game. Someone gets close to you while you're dribbling, they're going to steal the ball. While you're dribbling, you're moving slightly slower. Like all this stuff kind of makes for a game where the premise is basically just let me shoot the ball as quickly as I can, which, based on the name Fast Break, sounds like what you want.
Yeah.
But your AI partner didn't get the fucking memo.
No.
They didn't get the memo. So it's like, yes, when I get the ball, the first thing I want to do is pass it. Great concept.
Yep.
But if the person to whom I'm supposed to pass is trailing behind me, and then I pass through the front of the court, if you're not familiar with basketball rules, a backcourt violation, once you pass half court, you can't go back past that half point line, the halfway line. But your partner, to whom you would have to pass, just hangs out there.
Just hangs behind the half court line, knowing he can't get past the ball, and yet he's waving wildly, like, just please give me the ball, please give me the ball. And you're explaining the rules of basketball to your teammate who's in an NBA game, hypothetically, going like, I can't pass you the ball. You're past half court, and he's like, give me the fucking ball. And you're like, okay, I don't know what to do now.
And when you do, Magic Johnson is so happy to tell you you've done it. He comes on screen. Backcourt violation every time. Every time you score, he says, like, Magic Johnson comes on screen to say something. We kind of joked about, like, he comes on screen, timeout. He does all that stuff.
Yes.
Defensive foul.
Except for 2-pointers. And so there was times in the game where you and I would sink like a layup or something. Well, not a layup, but a close shot.
Yes.
And then you'd be like,
did we
score? Oh, okay. And you barely see an inbounding.
So because one of the AI players or one of the players is always hanging out under the basket, when you score, all they do is take a small step back and they're inbounding again. Yeah. So if you're just clicking like jump to get the rebound and it passes right when you get it, because you're so close to going out of bounds in order to inbound the ball, you don't know whether anyone scored.
No.
And there's very little indication of like a swish sound. It's just the ball kind of goes near the rim. It could have been an air ball.
It could have been. I don't know. And the problem is there is sound effects for other things. So it's not even saying that like, oh, why would they have a noise out of nowhere?
Right.
Well, they do. They have a noise for steals.
They have a noise for steals, which doesn't always play.
No.
Which is fucked up because you'd think if there's a sound to play, like I was basing it off of, because it's visually sometimes difficult to tell who has the ball, which as far as sports games go, that's not a good sign.
No.
So if it's tough to tell who has the ball, you have to rely on that sound cue to tell you when it's changing hands. Sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And you're just running the other way straight into the backcourt.
Straight into the backcourt that's the other backcourt violation thing was like, if there was any steals at half court, you're getting the ball back because it's a backcourt violation for the other team.
It's almost like a safe space, like we try to create on this podcast.
If you're in the half court logo, you're like, steal it. I dare you, stupid idiot.
Yeah. Magic Johnson's like, steal it. I'd love to say backcourt violation again. Same animation of his face or same drawing of his face every time Magic Johnson comes on the screen. It's just him smiling, whether you got a 3-pointer, whether backcourt, which feels like he's chastised or whether like he's chiding you, like making fun of you.
Yeah, you stupid idiot.
You stupid idiot. Backcourt violation.
Thank Christ it's not like steal, because that we would see his face
all the time.
We realized during the stats that at the end of every quarter they do like kind of like a box score type thing, not for individual players but for the team. And we realized that at the end of the game, there were more steals than rebounds, than fouls for sure, than field goals made.
Yes.
Like there were more steals. There was almost 70 steals in the whole game. Like it's crazy.
Well, it's also, I mean, a lot of classic games do this as well when it comes to classic basketball games, when it comes to fouls. They just like randomize it completely.
Yes.
In the whole game, there was one foul, and it was just because someone pressed steal and it happened to engage in like a push.
Yeah, we don't really know how that happened because we also couldn't figure out blocks.
No.
Like
we could jump, but we're thinking that blocks aren't possible in this game.
I don't think so.
Which sounds crazy if you're listening to us say this, but when you press the same, it's the Nintendo, guys. There's 2 buttons. There's not much you can do. A is to switch characters. B is to jump.
Yeah.
Or steal.
Yeah.
But
I also, the jump, by the way, I think there is something in the coding where you're only allowed to jump a second after the guy.
Right.
Because you're jumping and it would only after the shooter initiated
I felt
a
the
jump.
same thing.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing is that it's got to be a context clue to say like you're going to steal unless someone is passing or shooting. Because you can also jump up to steal a pass.
Yep.
But the problem with that,
and shoot in the air while you did it.
And shoot in the air. The number of times, oh my God, that you would be inbounding or something.
Yeah.
I would press B to steal as you were passing. I'd jump up in the air, and because that's the same button as shoot, it would in the air catch, shoot, score.
Yes.
That is a marvel of modern basketball play.
That would be the Sports Center highlight for a month straight.
100%.
And yet it happened 4 times.
Four times in this game. Yeah. In a game where you can't slam dunk. Really. I mean, the animation is kind of you don't know if it's a slam dunk or not.
It looks like if you jumped over the basket and threw the basketball into the
dropped it in.
Yeah.
You jump really high with your hands straight out in front of you and drop the ball into the net.
That looks like a jump shot into the basket.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to say, if there's anyone suing anyone, it's not Jerry West suing Winning Time. It's us suing this for naming this game Fast Break.
Fast Break.
What the fuck? It could have been named. It should have been. I know the other title was Magic Johnson's Basketball.
Yes,
that's what it should have been.
Yes, I think that Jack McKinney is rolling in his. He's sliding in his grave right now, like he slid on his bicycle.
Oh yeah. Oh god, disgusting.
Holy hell, man. I mean, here's the thing. What did we expect from a game from 1988? I don't know, but imagine dropping quarters into this game. Imagine dropping quarters into this game.
No, I want to go on an apology tour for Excitebike.
Honestly, yeah,
Excitebike's a better game than this, and didn't do favorably
Here's
in our
the thing.
scores.
What if they cut the?
What if they were on motorcycles?
What if they were on motorcycles?
What if they were on motorcycles?
And it were called Excitebike?
Yeah, I think that'd be a better game in general.
What if the games were half as long?
Sure. Yeah, I think that would be better. Yeah, I think that could only help, which is like a bad argument. Like, what if you played less of the game?
Yes.
I'd be like, that game would probably be better.
At least so it would be like say you're playing with friends or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll play a game, then you'll play a game. Like, it took us a long time to play that game.
Yeah.
Too long.
Too long.
Way too long.
But if we enjoyed the game.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's the same could be said, I think, about NBA Jam. We enjoy playing it, but the length of time it takes to play through a game affects the pacing of game to game, which therefore affects the playthrough of a game. So if we had like each game is its own story, basically.
Yeah.
The narrative of a game begins and ends, and then you start a new one.
Right.
When that's literally all you can do in this game,
Right.
I think that it would make more sense to have them shorter, so that you could play more games, have more narratives, and not feel like you're just stuck in the middle of the same monotonous romp up and down the court. Jaunt, I should say, because it's definitely not a fast break.
Just passing the ball back to each other. Just back and forth.
Back and forth forever.
Between the teams.
I do think that I enjoyed it slightly more than you, but that is not to say that I enjoyed it.
This is your favorite game?
Of all time. I mean, I did win, so that's always going to make it more enjoyable for me.
You kicked the shit out of me, too. It wasn't even close.
There were moments, though, where it was like you were coming back.
Yeah, I said it during the gameplay, but it was like if I was more patient and every play you had to create space and pass back and forth and to mitigate the amount of steals, and then on the opposite side really just hound everybody with the ball for steals the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, you could keep it pretty close because I think the jump shooting is kind of like just works out into a wash.
I think so.
So it would be the other stuff that you'd have to do.
Yes,
and it's
like I doubled you in steals.
Yes.
But you doubled me in rebounds. So, who knows? I don't know what the element is there. I say that I may have enjoyed it more than you, but that's not to say that I wanted to play another game.
Yeah.
Like, even so, we tried out after we played you and I to say, like, maybe there's more of a story to this.
Yeah.
So we started the single player campaign.
One game.
Quote unquote. It's one game.
Yeah,
it's one fucking game.
Yeah.
The one thing that I do find cool, the rating system is your salary.
Okay, that's very
neat.
Interesting. That like the better you play, the more money you get.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And it updates your salary as you're playing. Like, that's kind of cool. I like that. It's basically the arcade scoring system. And who's number one with a bullet? The highest, the default rating? MJ, baby.
I know.
That's cool.
Interesting.
Wait a second.
Yep.
When would MJ have come into the league? 87?
Yeah.
So was he already considered the best of all time there? Because they would have.
Oh. Well, he was a very good player, but.
So why would MJ be number one there? Magic Johnson. We're thinking Michael Jordan.
Oh, Magic Johnson, of course. The titular fast break himself, Magic Johnson. We just immediately go to Jordan.
Yes.
Well, yeah with good reason. But yeah. Okay, Mikey, let's get into the scores. I don't know what to
get into the scores.
Honestly.
Now, typically what we do on the podcast is we take a look back at the games that we used to play when we were kids. Usually it's something we had in the Affinity Awards one way or another. We give the game a rating out of 4 bits as it holds up in our memories. And then as we perceived it in our memories when we played it as little kids. And then we give it another rating out of 4 bits based on how the game actually holds up in the modern day against like some modern games like Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, like Overwatch 2, like Elden Ring. This time, because neither of us have experience playing it, we're going to be imagining what we thought about it had we played it back when we were little baby boys. So, Andrew, why don't you start us off? Your rating out of 4 bits based on what little baby Andrew would have thought had he been playing this game back in the late 80s.
So I loved basketball games. I love basketball games now.
Yeah. What were some of your favorite classic basketball games?
Well, the NBA Live franchise was kind of like the first to, like, especially in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Was the first to really like.
So more the move to the 3D though.
100%. Yeah. And then NBA Jam in a 2D movie screen, which, man, NBA Jam, just like, I really want to go back and play that so I can wash the taste of this out of my mouth.
Yes.
Because like you could do so much and it felt so tight. And the steals, like there were ways to get around it,
Right.
you know, and maybe it was verticality. I said it twice wrong. Verticality.
Yeah.
There we go. Verticality. There we go.
A very happy interpretation.
Yeah, I know, seriously. That's how you separate that steals and the passes
Yes.
and stuff like that. 3-pointer is also popular in that, but not as popular. So it gave you a little bit of risk and incentive, right?
Sure.
This, I don't know. This would have been tough even as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, usually when games are relatively bad, you usually think as a kid, you're like, well, I would have been more forgiving.
Sure.
It was limited back then. No, this game kind of sucks. And I don't think I would have given it much time of day, but I did like basketball. And so I maybe would have played a little bit more, but that's still only going to get me a 1.5.
1.5. I think that's fair. I loved as a kid the simplistic sports games. I did. But there was a key element to it, which was the pacing. If it were a simulation sports game, I wanted there to be a bit of space and I wanted me to be able to take my time with the movements.
Okay.
There was an old hockey game I used to play on like the old Shockwave website, shockwave.com or whatever it was, where there would be a bunch of flash games. This is like really dating me. Actually, dating me would be terrible, but to age myself, the premise of that game was basically like you were one of two characters on the ice, and then there was a goalie, and it would be more about like distancing and movement. Like there was momentum, so you knew when you were in a certain space, you couldn't be attacked by the other player or confronted by the other player. In this, it feels like you are always less than a second away from being jumped on and having the ball stolen from you. And I get maybe that was to keep the pacing of the game up, but it just felt cheap and it felt unresponsive and it felt like it favored the defense in a way that didn't feel like real basketball.
Absolutely.
Block my shot, don't steal from me. You know what I mean? And because of that, I even given the simplicity of it, I wouldn't have gotten that much out of it. However, if we're looking at the late 80s, early 90s, I would have been way more forgiving with it. I think there were a ton of games that I used to play back in the day as well, where it was kind of just this like press play, you're playing the game and that's it. You know, there wasn't much more that it could have been at this era. So I'm going to give this one. You know what? I'm also going to give this one a 1.5.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going to a 2, but
oh God.
But I mean, I don't think that would have been absolutely terrible. But for video games from the, you know, we would have been playing it, let's say 1990 on the NES when it came out. There's I said 1990s. There are I'm just looking it up as we go.
Yeah.
You know, Super Mario World, 1990. Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake.
Oh my God.
You got
Monkey Island?
The Secret of Monkey. F-Zero. Okay,
F-Zero.
That's a perfect example.
Okay, that is because we played that recently.
We played that recently. Granted, it's on the Super Nintendo. But that just broadened what it was to play through something that's relatively simple and straightforward. A lot more flash around it. Smash TV came out in 1990, which is a way better game. It just feels like people were doing more with less, and that this one kind of leaned on the licensing.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier in that Trade West made this game for the NES, and Trade West was basically known for just shelling out licensed properties. And this kind of feels like that. But Andrew, so you gave it a 1.5 in the retro score. What about your score in the modern day?
This is going to be a lot easier, and I'm glad you brought those up because there is more that we can do. And I don't need to sit here and feel bad for this game going like, well, technology and, you know, games at the time. There were good games at the time.
Yes.
And this is not one of them. This is bad and lazy. And to be perfectly honest, it doesn't reflect basketball almost at all. Like, this is just, I don't know what the fuck this game is. It's bad.
Yeah.
And so it has no redeeming qualities. I don't know. I don't give out zeros unless it's unplayable, so it's a 0.5.
One thing before I get into my score, the game that I should have led off with, 1990, John Madden football. So better things were being done.
Absolutely.
Granted, again, not an NES game, but what more do you want? Like we've seen what this game looks like not on the NES, and it ain't much better.
No.
So you gave this one a 0.5.
I'm giving it a
0.4. See this, you know what I'm struggling with this review is it did kind of scratch that itch in the initial goings of like that very simple basketball formula.
Okay.
Jump, shoot, blah, 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 this, that. However, the only reason I would give it any credence is because it's the first of those that we've played on the podcast. But I know in my head there are better basketball games that give that from this perspective, the side-scrolling perspective, which are better games. So I'm going to I'm not going to give this one credit for scratching that itch because I know that games from this era, from this year, have already done it better. It's a 0.5 for me as well.
Oh, wow,
very,
really?
very little to do in the game. The fact that there's not even a semblance of a campaign.
No, there's nothing to this game.
And that the games are too long, and I could not imagine wanting to play another game after playing this one. 0.5, man.
So that combined is a 4 out of 16.
You know what? If it were a 4 out of 4, great score.
Well, sure, yeah. If it was free and made of candy too, it'd be fantastic. But there's things that we have to live with.
That's true. If it were free and made of candy, I would give it a 4 out of 4.
100%, I would. It's free and it's candy.
It's free and it's candy.
Do I have to get in anyone's van?
I hope so.
Oh, yeah, right.
I want to be taught some life lessons today.
100%. I got to move a couch.
Yes. Oh, Buffalo Bill.
Thank you very much.
You're
Go
welcome.
Bills. Go Bills. So there you go.
That's the lead in you want.
100%. Go Bills.
Remember that
the
serial
Buffalo
murderer?
Bills famous for having killers on the roster. So
Yes. True.
Yeah, thank you.
So are the Patriots, though.
4 out of 6. There's pretty much every team.
Yes.
For Baltimore Ravens.
Well, then again, the NFL themselves famous murderers of our
tell
brains.
the truth.
Yeah.
4 out of 16 for
Ironic that Will Smith almost gave Chris Rock a concussion.
someone checking Chris Rock. 4 to 16 for Magic Johnson's fast break. Woof.
Woof, indeed.
Yeah, woof. No good.
I was hoping it got a 16 out of 16 so that we can say that times 2 is 32, which is his number.
Magic Johnson's number.
Yeah.
You really hoped it was going to get 16 out of 16?
I really hoped it was going to get 16 out of 16.
I'd love to play the game that gets 16 out of 16.
We
haven't got one yet.
No, we haven't.
No, we haven't because the highest one is Hit and Run with 15 and a half.
Hit and Run and Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, 15 and a half.
Same game. Very good. Best
very
games of all time.
similar games.
Yeah, best
very
games of all
similar
time.
games. Similar artistic integrity. But yeah, 4 out of
Mikey.
16. I think I see the red carpet is people are loitering around
Todd
there.
Snap has just pulled up.
Todd Snap has pulled up and
Okay.
his cronies of teenage photographers.
Ugh. TikTok generation, right?
TikTok generation doing all their dances. Let's go make our way to the red carpet and then we'll jump into the reward ceremony. Let's run there though.
Yeah, fast break.
You've been waiting for it all year. The most glamorous award ceremony of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gladiators.
Okay. Look at our picture as we wave our arms.
I want the ball. I want the ball. No
I
one
want
has the ball. There's no ball around. I'm still waving.
We're in the back court.
Waving. Maybe he's choking. Is he choking? No, I don't think so. He just needs the basketball. Thanks, Todd. Okay, so we're now in the award ceremony. Mikey, what do you think? Oh, Elliot, what?
Oh, Elliot's taken to the court in his short shorts.
Of course he's in the short
He looks
shorts.
pretty good.
Looks pretty good. Legs look good.
And his generic purple basketball uniform.
Yeah, we talked about on the gameplay, but they were not licensed. So
Yes.
his Lakers jersey is just kind of out of focus and slightly green.
On the cover, yes, but
Yeah.
the players on the court, there's a red jersey and a purple jersey.
Striped. Yeah.
Basically, the Toronto Raptors. They're playing as the home versus away Toronto Raptors.
They look like this, the way the stripes are too. It looks like an old bathing frock.
Yes.
Or like the original basketball, like put the ball in the peach basket.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So Elliot, why don't you reach down those short shorts, grab that envelope, and let us know what awards this game won. The Worst Buy Hall of Fame. Yep. That makes sense. That makes sense.
That checks out.
Checks out from Best Buy.
Very good.
Beep. Beep. Beep.
What does it say in the little screen that shows up?
It says return to sender.
Oh, very good. Piece of shit. It said on mine.
I was trying to think what The Simpsons said that it says when Maggie gets
Oh
scanned.
yeah, it's like it's an abbreviation that means nothing.
Yes.
Yeah. Very
yeah,
good.
Yeah. Very good.
Magic Johnson's fast break. What are your leaving thoughts with this?
Well, before we get into that, the Worst Buy Hall of Fame, obviously, where the current score is below a 2. I'm kind of surprised that it didn't get anything less than that.
Yeah. The problem is our scores in the retro scores were not high enough to get any other awards.
Exactly, because the New Mexican landfill, where the retro score is below a 2, and the Juve Bowl Memorial Dead Pixel Trophy, actually, it does win the Juve Bowl Memorial Dead Pixel Trophy. It's for a 6 or less.
Oh, so wait a second. And
No, what the fuck are you doing?
the Uva Bowl Memorial Dead Pixel Trophy.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh,
wow. Okay, so
Elliot
wow.
not
Dropping
doing
the ball.
his job there.
yeah, dropping the ball. Wait, I want it. Give it to me. Give me the ball.
A little disappointing there that our spreadsheet has failed us. In fact,
spreadsheet.
now I want to go back and see what.
Of all the games, it would fail for. It's Magic Johnson's Fast Break, a game that wasn't that good.
Yes.
So yeah, there you go. So 2 awards. 2 bad awards.
2 very bad awards, and I think deserved.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's kind of laid the gauntlet for what bad retro PC games are going to, or bad retro sports basketball video games are going to be. There is something there, like that not in this game, but in that era of basketball games. There are some good ones. Maybe we'll find them. You know what else I think we should do?
What's that?
When we did NBA Jam, which was we were playing NBA Jam as when we thought about one of the concepts for this video game. You know, we fucking loved NBA
For the
Jam.
podcast, yeah.
But for the podcast. But when we did it on this podcast, we did the SNES version, and I think we should go back and do the arcade version as a revisit, maybe towards the end of the NBA playoffs or something along those lines. We'll find a time to do it because we've done revisits before. I think we owe it to NBA Jam to kind of revisit.
Absolutely.
And give our
Especially
thoughts
as we
there.
go play these old basketball games. I'm like, man, I need to play NBA Jam again.
100%.
It makes me now think differently of it.
It always works. You know, we play these games like NBA Playgrounds and all that stuff, and that always works for us because it's a formula that fucking works.
Yep.
You know what? I'm just going back and
Yeah, what are you doing now, Mikey?
No, I want to look at some of the past games that we've done that have gotten the Uwe Boll Memorial Trophy and compare them side by side to see which ones you think are deserving to be there or not. We've got Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yep.
That one seems like it should be there. Manhunt, a game that people often ask us to go back and do.
Did not enjoy.
Hitman Codename 47, which is surprising.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna
just that
say.
the original did not hold up with the graphics and controls. Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, and I hate that. I love Echo the
I know
Dolphin.
you do. I know
Yeah,
you do.
That sucks.
American Gladiators is another one.
Yeah.
And Blades of Steel, another sports game.
Yeah.
That got it, honestly, for similar reasons. A sports game that had the close interaction of any 2 people on screen just really wreaking havoc on everyone. So that also kind of makes sense to me.
Well, there you go. So that was Magic Johnson's Fast Break.
Yes.
A game I hope I forget about for a while, and then later you remind me, like, remember that game? I'm like, no, I don't.
No, I don't.
I don't at
You know
all.
what? It turns out when we considered which game to do for this week's episode, we made a mistake.
We made a mistake, but you're right. We can always go back and play one of the other ones and see how much it's hopefully better than Fast Break.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much. We love every single one of you, and we can't wait to talk to you soon. My name's Andrew Baskman. With me, as always, is the bad boy of podcasting, Mr. Bebop himself.
Mikey Aaronworth.
This is the Retrograde Podcast.
Game over.
Backcourt violation!
Want more Retrograde in your life? You can visit our website for show notes at theretrogradepod.com. Follow us on Twitter at Retrograde Mikey, at Retrograde Andy, and the podcast at Retrograde Pod.
Or Instagram at the Retrograde Podcast.
For bonus episodes, check us out at patreon.com/the Retrograde Podcast.
Send your questions and business inquiries to the retrogradepodcast at gmail.com.
See you next week, D-pads.
Furnished by Sad Styles Productions.
I'll disappoint mother.
That's 9 times out of 10. That's what it is.